Welcome to Practical Shooting After Dark. Are you watching some match video there, Matt?
Yeah, I
What do you
didn't know
say?
you were going live. I was wondering if the sound was going to come through or not.
No,
I'll
it's
fix it.
not. No, I can't actually hear the sound.
Okay.
So
Well,
you go ahead.
I paused it, so.
You don't have to pause it. Fire it away.
All right,
Enjoy
I'm watching.
yourself. It's your B-roll. So, as you can hear, Matt Hopkins is on the line with me. We are here to talk about shooting. Everybody comes with a topic normally, but we got some questions been sitting a while. We got to catch up on this stuff, right? You know?
Yeah.
So,
No, questions are good.
So we're just going to do an all.
We're
going to do an all Q&A podcast here, just to bang this out so we can get it done. Okay. Hello, Ben. Firstly, I'm a huge fan of the podcast and your books. I'm not sure that there's a better source of information for new competitors, new competitive shooters available anywhere. Some background before my question. I'm a new IPSC shooter with 6 matches under my belt. There are no club matches to shoot, so I'm relying on your dry fire and live fire drills from your books to develop my skills between monthly matches. I shoot production division with a Shadow 2. When purchasing my second pistol, I decided to go with an optics ready version as a backup. Because that one has irons on it, right? It's like
the one we sell to all the other country, like I think it comes with a plate that has iron sight, like a rear iron sight on it. So
okay. I feel like the dot is hard to cheat with less than perfect sight picture being obvious. Well, iron sights are hard to cheat also. You just have to be paying attention, I should say. All right.
Yeah.
The question is, would I be doing myself a disservice by doing dry fire and live fire practices with both irons and a dot? I haven't done much shooting with the dot, but it seems like any issues in fundamentals are more obvious with the dot than with my irons. Yes, it's true. It's more obvious. I know several of you shoot dots and irons. So I wanted to hear your opinions. I'm sure it's been mentioned before, but I can't find it. I'm trying to learn as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and thought it might be a good training aid. What do you say, Matt?
Well, obviously the dot's easier to see. Like if the dot's bouncing around when you're moving around, you can see it jumping up and down, and that might not be entirely perceptible like with iron sights, you know?
Yeah.
So like visual like red dot is very easy to see and kind of see what's going on.
Correct. And if you're paying attention, I should tell you guys, if you're paying attention to irons, you can see that. So if you're shooting a dot and it looks weird, or whatever, you see something, you are more than likely doing that with iron sights too, and you're just not paying enough attention to see it. So, like, don't get it twisted, fellas.
So, so if you pull the trigger and that dot jumps to the left, if you're like a right-handed shooter, your iron sights are doing the same exact thing. You just aren't seeing it.
You're not paying attention and seeing it.
Yeah. And then, the classic thing people talk about is dry firing like with a dot while walking, and you see like the bounce in each step, like the dot going up and down, up and down. Yeah. That same thing is happening with iron sights. It's just not perceptible, or you're not seeing enough.
So anyway, so this is where I might sound like a little bit of an asshole. I don't mean to. Like, what you should do, honestly, is pick something and practice with it. If you want to practice with different stuff, that's fine. When you've done 6 matches, you're probably holding yourself back. This might sound a little weird for me to say, where it's like, I'll do half day in a class with one, like a limited gun, and half day in a class with a production gun, or I'll shoot an optics Glock. I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever. I don't give a shit. And I'm training with different gear all the time. And you see a lot of, guys who've been around a long time, or like maybe they're higher level shooters training with different stuff. Juancek will train irons and dot all the time with his Q5 matches, for example. Matt, you'll shoot. I don't think you systematically are training irons or dot. You're kind of one or the other, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna switch full send it, like one or the other.
Yeah. But the point is, I don't have 6 matches under my belt. I have 15 years. And it was like, I did what I would tell you to do, which is pick a thing you want to do and practice with it. So it's like, here's your gun. Because you want to learn skills. It's not really about what equipment you're using. You want to learn the skills. And if you think, I'm going to learn irons and I'm going to learn dot. Like, there's nuances to shooting irons and there's nuances to shooting dots, but really you want to learn how to shoot, which means just pick you have a gun that fits you more or less, and ammunition that functions, and whatever, and you just practice the fundamentals, like how to grip your gun, how to pull the trigger straight, how to understand how to move through stages and do all these different things. Like that's the stuff you want to work on, is your fundamental skills. The nuances between how you to address this situation with irons or this situation with a dot or whatever, like that is not relevant for you right now. It just isn't. So if you want to do that, that's fine. Maybe it'll help you, maybe it won't, but it's definitely going to complicate your life, and it's not, I mean, it's just not necessary. So I wouldn't be if you're sitting there like, I should do irons and a dot, like I need to do that. I know that once it does that, or I mean, he did that for a year or something, but I mean, what you could take that for what it's worth. You don't need to do that. If you want to do that, that's fine. Generally, you should pick a thing and train with it until you get to a level where you understand all the other things going on. So these guys changing equipment all the time, like they have everything else locked down. Like they understand the rules, the scoring, technique. They understand all this stuff. And then even then, like for me, if I'm shooting a different gun or thing, there's still a learning curve with that. Like I need to understand now how that gun works. If I get a different dot, I have to understand like, well, how does this thing work? Like, does it break? Does it not? Do I trust it? How do I change the battery? How to do all these different things? I've got to get like spare parts for different guns. Like you just really complicate your situation with this bullshit, and you should not feel like you have to do it. If you want to shoot the dot, shoot the dot. If you want to shoot irons, but you don't feel obligated to do both. Is that fair, Matt?
Yeah, 100% fair.
Yeah.
Like you're not trying to figure out how to break a stage down. You've got
No.
that figured out.
Yeah, exactly. That, and it's like, it's a far different situation to have a system, like a gun, technique, a belt, magazines, all that, and master that system, and then changing out different pieces of that system. It's not that hard to do if you know what you're doing. It's not that hard, but it's just like, I know like guys come into the sport and shoot a little bit and they see top guys division hopping and all that stuff and doing so successfully. And but the reason is if you're good, you're good. Maybe the way you're wired or the way the scoring works in one division, maybe you're better in one division versus another, but being a good shooter, that just makes you a good shooter, and you should learn skills that you can apply to any sort of situation, given the tools you have. It's not really so much about the tools themselves.
So when I just came on the scene, the thing that amazed me was the guys that could go shoot a USPSA match and win that, and then go shoot a
IDPA.
22. No, that could go shoot a 22 long rifle and steel challenge and go win those matches too. Those are two very drastic difference in matches and equipment. Mm-hmm. And that's what was kind of mystifying to me. But with more experience, like I could go jump into a steel challenge match, and like I know how the game is played. I know all that. Not saying I'd be best at it or gonna go win all those matches.
Yeah, but
I know how to do it. I'd be pretty good at it.
It's not like you're starting from square one.
Right. And with 6 matches, you are at square one. Like there's no other way to say it. Like that's basically almost zero experience in the sport.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, what'd you shoot? You shot production for like 12 years before you shot anything else, didn't you?
Yes, that is true.
So I've basically shot production for 10 years before I shot anything else.
Yes. And, well, I mean, and there's been other changes in now they just, there's a bunch of divisions added, and basically the culture in the sport has kind of turned on low cap, just people aren't about that anymore. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So whatever. So I like production. I like that a lot, but, it's good for me to be, cause I have people show up. I also have people send me weird questions about, that's not weird. I understand it, I guess, but they'll be like, hey, I'm shooting open. Can I come to your class? And it's like, I mean, well, shooting is
Uh-huh.
shooting, you know?
Or they worried because you're a production shooter?
Correct. Yeah, they think it's
Oh, okay,
like
yeah.
production
All right.
specific or what it's. And you, Matt, you've been in a class with me. Is somebody's division even relevant, really?
No, not at all. Like
Doesn't
the
make any
gun,
difference.
the only difference it would make is if there's a spare for something that would break on it.
Yeah. And then when somebody's like, hey, how do I do this part of this stage? It's like, oh, okay, well, this like, okay, you're shooting limited today. I'm shooting production. If I were shooting limited, this is what I would do.
Yeah,
And this is why.
or you're like, yeah, you'll load where I load on my second mag because it makes sense in
Yeah,
the
exactly.
stage design, and that doesn't take a lot of,
That's
I
really
guess,
that's not that
division
tough to figure it out.
specific like requirements. That's super easy to figure out.
Yes. So like that worked. I mean, that's just the way it goes. You don't have to worry about that stuff. Anyway, let's move on to the next question. Hey Ben, I have a training question that might be a decent question for the podcast. Do you have any methods other than increasing speed or decreasing the par time? So basically forcing yourself to go faster to simulate tension or stress during practice. And before we answer this, I want to take the word simulate tension or stress. Like you can, if you're doing your practice right, you're not simulating shit. You are inducing it. Like it's actual stress. You know what I mean? Actual stress,
Yeah.
not simulated. It's going to be real. So, Matt, what are some ways we can induce a little bit of stress during practice?
So we can make the first run of a drill the only run that matters, and that's all
Right.
we think about, like after the practice session. That's how you determine how. That's a way to induce pressure.
Yeah.
Like the
So,
first run matters, the first one of the day, no matter what you're doing.
right. And I should say that can be part of your thinking. I mean, before you go to the range. So imagine what it does to you mentally when you're like, hey, good shooters can do X, whatever X
Yep.
is. Uh, El Presidente, under 5 seconds, A's and C's, cold.
Yep.
Okay. That's what good shooters can do. And you internalize that and you really believe it, you know? Then when you go out to the range, you set up El Presidente, measure it off, get it,
Yeah.
step it off, get it set up right. And in your head, you're just running that through like, no, good shooters can do this. And then you take your first run and there's no do-overs. There's no bullshit. I mean, again, you could do that to yourself if you wanted to, but you're probably going to be out there by yourself and you do a run and like the result is what it is. So, like I have been at the range feeling pressure because I put that pressure inside my head where it's like, hey, this is how this works. You know what I mean? Like good shooters can do this, and I want to be a good shooter, so I want to pass this test.
Yep.
You can you can bring a training partner with you, not so much to train with you, but for accountability. And this kind of works the same way. So it'll be like I know that it's different. Like if I'm shooting with Matt, like I don't like I Matt and I are friends, and Matt's not going to make Matt's not going to be mean to me, but I don't want to suck in front of like bring. And then if I'm sitting there like, hey, I'm having this issue, this is what I want to work on, and then just Matt's presence will hold me accountable on some level for what I'm working on, you
Yeah.
know.
I think
So
another way is, say you're going to post this drill, this video of the drill, no matter how it turns out. So that's the same as inducing pressure. Like, oh, the good
yeah,
shooter does it in 5. So I'm going to post the first run of this drill, no matter what happens. I think that would probably induce some pressure in there.
yeah, yes, absolutely. So there's other ways too. You can have little mock competitions during training. If you have a training partner who's a very similar level to you, that all that stuff's gonna increase your tension level. And you can also set other tests for yourself. Like, hey, I want to do this one 5 in a row. So I'm shooting the proper speed or whatever. I want 5 runs in a row that are not fucked up or whatever. So there's always ways to test yourself and induce pressure, but the key person enforcing that is you. Like you really have to internalize, and you have to be thinking about it during your like your regular life, where it's like, hey, I really want to do like that. Doing that in practice, that's a goal of mine, or like working that out, or figuring this thing out. If you're thinking about it when you're not at the range, that does induce pressure, because you probably spend a lot of time not at the range thinking about how you want to do at your next match. Like, hey, I want to do well, and you're thinking about it all the time, and then you get there, and then there you know, there's pressure because you've been kind of building it up in your mind for so long.
So, do you guys address this in the new book?
Match mentality.
Yeah.
About increasing stress, decreasing stress when needed. I forget about what exactly is in there that applies to your training, but a large part of your training is really visualizing and learning to deal with pressure.
Yep.
Yes.
So go pick the new book up when it's out.
I mean, shit, you don't have to. Like, just borrow Matt's copy when he gets it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, there you go. I'll have it on me. Do we have another question?
We absolutely do. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Hey, Ben and podcast panel. I'm not new to shooting, but I'm new to shooting seriously. I like that there's a lot of self-awareness there. There's a lot of guys who are like, I've been shooting for 20 years, but they don't shoot competitively and they just kind of go to the range and dick around. Okay. So he's aware. I'm new to shooting. I'm new to taking shooting seriously. I've started practicing dry and live fire regularly, and I want to start shooting in USPSA competitions. I don't expect to go out and slay. In fact, I know I'm going to get my dick pushed into the dirt, but I at least want a respectable performance for a newbie. My question is, when should I start entering the competitions? Besides knowing and being able to follow all the safety standards and rules, is there a certain criteria I need to meet with my practice or training before I shoot my first match? How do I know if I'm ready or just need to enter, get my ass handed to me, learn what the matches are all about so my practices and training can have more substance to them, as I will know I will know the why to the drills and training methods. Thanks for taking the time to answer my questions. I apologize if you already addressed this, but I missed it when watching the video. So, but dude, I don't know if we talked about it. I don't fucking remember. It doesn't really matter.
You're not keeping a spreadsheet with every single topic we talked about it.
Out of here. Yeah, I can like. What's your answer to this, Matt?
I was watching your match video and didn't hear the question. Go ahead. Go again real quick.
What? Oh, tell me. What did you think of the match video?
Interesting. I was actually looking at the scores also, and it looks like they tried to set up a classifier, but it didn't count because it was set up wrong.
No, they didn't. It was their intent was what happened.
Really? Okay. Okay.
It was like
practicing for them,
but not. They're saving that $3 a guy or whatever.
Okay. All right.
I'm not reading the question again for the audience, you asshole. I sent it to your Facebook Messenger.
Okay. All right.
God damn it, Matt. Well, did you like the match video? You were excited? As long as we're going to have a side conversation for the however many, like 5,000 people listen to this. Retard.
This dude needs to get his ass to a match right away.
I knew you'd say that.
There's no point in saying, I'm not good enough to enter. Dude, just go look at your local club, pull up practice score, scroll all the way to the bottom and see how that guy did. Like, you're going to be surprised at the vast difference in skill level across everybody that competes.
And just so you know, most people at a match, they don't fucking practice. They don't do shit.
Nope. The match is their practice.
Participation is the goal. They show up.
$5,000 open gun out there to shoot 150 rounds once a month, and only when the weather is nice and it's not cold or raining or hot, or they have some other plan from their significant other that gets in the way of the match.
Yeah, like, hey, gonna go to Bed Bath & Beyond. Gonna have a really super weekend.
Just get out there and compete, man. You'll have fun. Like, if you don't, you'll know that you need to go find something else. So get out there, make sure, like, just email the match directors. They'll put you in touch with someone. They might have a new shooter thing beforehand. Like, get out there, go shoot.
All right.
Like, there's no.
All right. So what Matt said is fair enough, and I suppose that's probably the best practice answer. It's like, look, you don't know what you don't know. Like, you don't know what you don't know about what you can't even really conceive. You know what I mean? Just it's
Yeah.
different than you think. It's not what you think it is. Whatever you think it is, it's not what you think, because it's going to be something different.
That'd be
It's
like
really difficult to imagine it.
that'd be me like, no, I'm gonna go shoot PRS now, and then I'm gonna go buy a gun and maybe watch some videos and figure out, okay, so if I train these things and do all this,
Then I'm
like
going to go win the match
this time next
or
year,
do
I'm gonna
well
go out, yeah, and go do well at the first match.
at them. All right. That having been said, there's 3 things that you can practice at and should practice at before you go. And if you wanted to delay going for a little bit, I mean, this is February. I don't know where you live, but I mean, maybe you want to go to the April match or something. Here's 3 things to practice that it's going to help you. Number 1, the safety rules. Like, actually just take your gun and do it safely, obviously, but practice running around and observing the 180 rule. Practice popping your finger out of the trigger guard when you're running around. Practice popping your finger out of the trigger guard to reload and reloading in a safe direction. Practice the make ready. I mean,
And the unload and show clear.
Yeah, practice that stuff.
Those are the 2 that I would have said.
I mean, just practice the range commands and implementing the safety rules. Practice that stuff so you get comfortable with the idea of all of that. And more than that, you've done it. You've done it before you go do it. Practice that. The other thing is, if you're going to practice shooting, there's a couple things you can try. If you have I'm guessing this guy has USPSA targets or IPSC targets wherever he is. Practice shooting as fast as you can pull the trigger on a close range target. Not as fast as you think you could shoot. Just practice like running the gun really hard on the target and see what happens. And make sure you can hit the target like from, I don't know, 25, like just shoot at it from far away. And, it's going to be frustrating if you get to the match and you can't hit the target sort of irrespective of time, because you're going to feel really pressured any other way. Then the third thing is go online and look. If you don't have any training in this, understand how to clear malfunctions in your gun. So that's something that a lot of people who haven't, if they don't have experience doing it, like you need to clear malfunctions on the clock. And no, at your first match, you don't have to do it fast. But if any shit goes sideways, you don't want that to, you don't want to wig out. So it's like, hey, okay, I need to be able to clear jams quickly and efficiently. So you don't need to necessarily practice doing it quickly, but watch a couple videos on tap, rack, bang, or whatever, and different ways to clear out malfunctions if your gun's not working. So you don't want to be the dumbass who, like, if they're, well, I shouldn't say they're dumbasses, but they're just new. They show up to a match and they're shooting, and their gun, they get a click when it should be a bang, and they kind of look at the gun like it's grown a dick out of it, and they're like, and they don't really know what to do.
And then they look like to the left or right to the RO for help.
Like looking around, and it's like, okay, that person just like they have not like understood this, or this is nothing they've ever had to do, and that's totally fine. But like that is a potential fun wrecker for you. So just, take a look at that, watch a couple of YouTube videos, and practice that a little bit. So if anything happens, you can clear that out and continue on shooting. And if you do that stuff, go shoot a match this spring. You're going to have a great time. You're going to learn a lot.
Just tell them you're new when you come on, and then tell the squad you're with also that you're a new shooter. That way they know if you like look over your shoulder and like got this jam, they'll be like, oh, so we probably should help this guy through this so he can finish.
Yes, exactly. So that's the Q&A episode. I think we're all done here. Matt, your attention span's about run out, isn't it?
I'm through your video and looked at your scores.
Well, that's cool. My attention span is anyway. That's it. That's it for us, listeners. If you have more questions, go to bensteger.com. Send us your questions. We'd love to talk about it. And that's it. We're out.